Day 20, another fun day. Got up looking for manatees, but saw none today. But we did see an osprey feeding her chick, and that was cool. We left the fam camp and crossed the Sunshine Skyway Bridge. That was amazing. We then headed to Anna Maria Island. It was pretty crowded for a weekday. Found out it was spring break, so we headed down to Bradenton Beach and got a few pictures. We saw David Hasselhoff, the lifeguard who was born on his birthday. Kept going south to Sarasota and saw the Ringling Brothers Museum from the outside. It was hot today at 95 degrees. We put the paddleboards in the water at Turtle Beach and paddled out with the beagles on them. Bailey decided to jump on my board and slipped off into the water. We got her out, and that was enough. We then headed to Maximo Park for a break. Then we went to Pollo Tropico for dinner. Great grilled chicken. We then headed to Madeira Beach and John's Pass to watch the sunset. We saw 2 dolphins in the Gulf. We had a frozen key lime pie dipped in chocolate on a stick, and it was very, very rich. Then we went to a park to see the light show on the Skyway Bridge, but it didn't happen. Then we drove back to fam camp for the night, and we got there at 9:30 p.m. Day 21. Well, it was a unique day. We left the fam camp at 8:15 and headed to Cuba. No kidding, we went to Cuba. Just north of Tampa is a city called Ybor, and there a part of it is Cuban property. So from there we headed north. We went to Weeki Wachee Springs. Since I am a disabled veteran, they let us in for free. We watched the ranger talk, saw the mermaid show, and took a boat ride. From there we went to Ocala. There we met up with our friends from Guam that we haven't seen in 35 years, Paul and Renee Jackson. What an amazing time talking about the past 35 years. So from there we went to the Cracker Barrel and overnighted there. day 22. We left Ocala this morning and drove to Fernandina. We got to spend some time with our former children's pastor, Ruth Farwell, and my buddy, her husband, Scott. What an amazing couple with great kids. From there we crossed into Georgia, but the lights didn't go out. If you are old and from the 70s, you will get it. If not, there was a song, The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia. Find it and give it a listen. We then drove out to Tybee Island and touched the Atlantic Ocean. This is the farthest east we will go. So now we are driving to the west and making our way home. We then went to Savannah and saw the famous fountain at Forsyth Park. Savannah is an amazing city with lots of history. The weather was beautiful here today. From there we drove to Pooler to stay at the Cracker Barrel there. Day 23. We went into Cracker Barrel and had breakfast. I know it was Cracker Barrel because the bill was pretty good, until Deb went shopping. But wait, there's more. Had to get an oil change and the bill wasn't that bad, until they didn't have the oil I wanted, so they charged me more. Then we got to Costco for gas. That was it. Got on the road and ended up on the back roads. That was a lot of fun. We saw the Georgia Patrol had pulled over a couple cars, but not me. Crossed into Alabama and saw the sign, Sweet Home Alabama. I started to sing. That was pretty cool. And wait for it, we got to Buc-ee's, and yes, guess what? Deb went shopping. But wait, there's more. We got gas there too. We then drove through Montgomery to Maxwell Air Force Base Fam Camp for the night.